Sexual violence is a discrepancy in the power in relationships between two people.
Sexual violence occurs anytime someone is forced, manipulated, or coerced to do something sexual that they don't want to do.
Sexual violence is any unwanted sexual contact. It goes beyond the physical and can include words, pictures, gestures, and even things that happen online.
A sexual assault is not just rape, sodomy, or sex abuse. It's about the power and control that the perpetrator has over his or her victims.
Sexual assault is one of the most underreported crimes nationwide.
So whether that be rape, stalking, physical abuse, emotional abuse.
Sexual violence means anything that is done to another person without consent.
Sexual violence is about power and control, and using your power over somebody else to get what you want.
In Oregon, 1 in 6 women will experience a sexual assault in her lifetime. That's across all nationalities, ages, and regardless of economic status.
Oftentimes the sexual violence is perpetrated against a victim repeatedly throughout their life.
It's not just a woman's issue, it's a man's issue, it's a transgender issue.
A victim of sexual violence can be anybody. It can be a small child, it can be a teenage girl, it can be a grown woman or man.
Sexual violence is not about sexual desire.
Victims of sexual violence are often re-victimized as they move through the judicial system.
It's a human rights violation, it's a crime.
And the only way we'll be able to solve the problem is if we all become part of the solution.
For over 3 decades, Haven has been the primary community resource for survivors of domestic and sexual violence.
The mission of Haven is to provide safe and supportive services to those affected by interpersonal and sexual violence by empowering survivors and our community through advocacy, education, and prevention.
In 2013, we served over 5,000 prevention contacts from Wasco, Sherman, Wheeler, and Gillum counties and throughout the Columbia River Gorge.
So to prevent sexual violence in our community, the first thing you need to do is really understand that sexual violence is a lot bigger concept than just sexual assault, but that it's about decreasing the value of women using sex as a weapon to devalue women in our society and the way that they're represented in culture and in the media. Ask yourself, what messages are you hearing about sexual violence in our media, in the culture, and in our community? And what power do you have to change that message?
Haven, together with community partners such as Wasco County District Attorney's Office, law enforcement, Mid-Columbia Medical Center, and the Department of Human Services, have formed the Sexual Assault Response Team, a multidisciplinary interagency effort to coordinate the response to incidences of sexual assault.
We're lucky in our community to have partners that come together and work so well as part of a sexual assault response team. Haven is an integral part of that team.
Our goal as a response team is survivor-centered care.
Following a sexual assault, the hospital calls a Haven advocate, and we always have somebody on call 24/7 who's able to respond in person to that survivor while they're going through the forensic examination process, and as well to coordinate what follow-up services they might want.
We all work together to get a thorough picture of what the person went through during their incident and what is the best follow-up care for that person.
It can be really hard, and so sometimes it can be empowering, it can be comforting to have somebody walk that walk with them, and that's what Haven Response is there for.
The patient, when they come to us, really feels like they're the ones making the decisions and being given the information that they want and need at that time.
I consider Haven an essential part of the investigative team when it comes to sexual assaults.
I appreciate Haven's presence throughout the entire process, from the initial meeting with victims of sexual violence up at the emergency room, offering them resources and support that will carry them through the entire process.
The kids show excitement and interest when they know that it's a Haven Day and that they're coming to get to talk about some of the gritty things that they really want to be able to hear and say.
Haven's prevention program is an example of one of the many innovative programs developed by Haven. The prevention team presents weekly in elementary, middle, and high schools in our area. Their lessons educate and empower students to to develop healthy relationships.
Sometimes it's really hard to kind of set your boundaries.
Our focus is the primary prevention aspect. So we, as a team, with Haven, are trying to prevent sexual violence or domestic violence before it actually happens.
Having Haven here in the classroom, it's made kids think about the way they treat each other, the things they say to each other. I do think that kids are more aware of how they treat one another.
It's really changed me because I remember I used to be one of the ones who would talk smack, but after Haven came here, I stopped and I started acting more normal, more calm and more quiet.
Our ultimate goal is to teach everybody that everybody deserves to have a safe relationship. We really emphasize our CERTS model, which is consent, equality, respect, trust, and safety as being the foundation for a healthy relationship.
CERTS is consent, equality, respect, trust, and safety, which are the key factors in having a successful relationship that hopefully isn't abusive. And I feel like that's really something important and that I'm going to try and take away from this and use in my own life when I grow up and get into relationships.
Students are very willing and wanting to learn about how to have healthy relationships and learn about how the media in our society perpetuates the acceptance of violence against women.
Haven has given kids some of the tools that they need to deal with a situation where there might be bullying or unwanted things being said, that they have some tools in their pocket to use.
I think Haven is a good source of showing what is happening out in the community, and Haven is kind of there to support everyone who needs help.
Taylor and Victor have been a good team. They're young, they're fun, and they're really passionate about what they're teaching the kids.
Haven has taught me how to communicate with other people. Haven has affected the way I treat my family too.
If we show students what a healthy relationship looks like now, we can prevent sexual violence or domestic violence in the future.
We're able to help students break the societal norms of what is okay in relationships and help them create safe relationships in their community and within their own families.
I believe that prevention is one of the most important things that we can do for our community. So a very big part of Haven is in preventing sexual assault and violence. And if we can teach our youth how to recognize it, how to handle it, where to go for help, that will make a difference.
Working with community partners, Haven's prevention team organized the first Prevention Summit in February 2014 to bring high school students, adults, and social service agencies together for a day of learning. The goal of the summit? To provide an opportunity for youth and adults to have a safe space to have conversations about the issues that affect teen relationships.
It's really a youth-led event for youth to have more conversations, more critical conversations about consent and healthy relationships.
The summit is all about really creating a partnership between youth and community partners and really addressing a variety of issues to really build healthy relationships and get teens the resources they need to really be supported in having the kind of relationships that they want.
Well, I figured it was going to be more about boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, but it's kind of been more about relationships with any kind of person.
Just any personal relationship.
Yeah. I hope that my friends can gain the kind of passion I have about having a healthy relationship and understanding what a healthy relationship looks like really. Once you can identify that, you can really bolster the ones that you have.
We had students from the Dalles Wetonka High School, we had students from Maupin and Sherman County, Arlington, and White Salmon join as well, as long as some other schools. And we had community partners come and help us with this, but creating healthy relationships within our community is a community effort.
I think with any relationship, equality was the biggest factor today.
Definitely.
With any relationship between teacher, student, peer-to-peer, boyfriend, girlfriend, any relationship, the focus was equality.
This affects everyone. Everyone has...
The Healthy Teen Relationship Summit moved me more than I can express. It was a day that was committed to teaching youth and adults about healthy relationships, and the Haven staff just delivered it in a tremendous way. Their commitment and their ability to get a message across to the youth in our community, the people that are working with the youth in our community, and even to me as a parent, it was moving.
So to support Haven in preventing sexual violence in our community, there are 3 easy things you can do to support us. You can donate directly to Haven. You can sign up to volunteer, and we have a variety of volunteer opportunities available. And you can attend our events and continue to learn more about sexual violence prevention in our community.
Haven has taken the lead in prevention efforts to end domestic and interpersonal violence in the Gorge. There have been significant accomplishments in the past year.
One of the biggest challenges Haven is facing right now is shelter. We would love to get the community together and talk about the challenges around affordable housing and emergency shelter that survivors of sexual and domestic violence are facing, and come up with a solution that all of our community is investing in. So what we're really doing is thinking about our whole community and who needs to be at this table, finding solutions to violence in our community. We believe that everyone who's affected by violence, and all of us are, has a role to play in preventing violence. We need the help of all of the community in order to do that.
In the last 2 years, sexual violence has risen to its highest levels. Its impacts are felt by the whole community. As a board member of Haven, I have seen firsthand how your contribution has made a difference. Your financial support of Haven is crucial in preventing sexual violence.
Everyone has a role in preventing sexual violence in our community.
Nobody chooses to be sexually assaulted or sexually violated.
You can make a difference by supporting Haven.
When you support Haven, you support these resources for survivors of sexual violence and their path to healing.